Okay, so I'm going to start from this time 1773 onwards. Okay, so here onwards we will be discussing about the Governor Generals. Okay, so now we will try to understand the history from the history of Governor Generals. So we have done with Battle of Plassey, okay, and then we have discussed about the decline of Mughals and the Carnatic Wars also. Now the two which are left out, mainly Mysore and also the Marathas, we will discuss after I complete till 1813, because the context will be very clear for you. Like we discuss about subsidiary alliance, we discuss about Charter Act, then the context will be somewhat more clear to you when we discuss about Mysore and Marathas. Okay, so here we will start with the Governor Generals, and the first one is Lord Warren Hastings. But before that, when we discuss about 1773, we need to discuss about the Regulating Act. Okay, so the first Regulating Act is what we are actually supposed to discuss here, that is in 1773. Now here, as its name indicate, you can actually understand that this act is basically to regulate. Now the question is, who's going to regulate whom, right? So it is the East India Company who's going to be regulated. By whom? By the Parliament. Okay, so the British Parliament is now going to regulate East India Company. Now, so there were governors like in Bengal, there were governor in Bombay, the three presidencies if you see, and in Madras there were governors. So here one of the most important point, the first point, if you see, the governor of Bengal became Governor General of Bengal. Okay, now not only Governor General of Bengal, earlier the Governor of Bombay, Governor of Bengal, Governor of Madras are independent and they can take their own decision. But here, when the Governor General of Bengal post was created, but along with this 4 council members were there, and the decision is not only the Governor Generals, it will be taken on the basis of majority. So that you can see some restriction here. Why I am saying restriction is because the appointment of Governor General, if you see, he is the head of the company, so he will be appointed by the company. So East India Company will appoint the Governor General, but the 4 members, these 4 members will be appointed by the Crown, okay, or the Parliament. So since this is for the first time, you may expect a question. Earlier you used to get the questions like this, but not nowadays, but still there are many members are going to come later, it will be reduced, it will be increased, many more members are going to come, many more council members are coming, but still, since this is for the first time, we need to know the 4 members. Obviously Governor General we need to know. Okay, so what I'm saying is, the first point, Governor of Bengal became Governor General of Bengal along with 4 council members. So the Governor General of Bengal will be appointed by the company, and the 4 members will be appointed by the Parliament, and through this 4 members there is a regulation you can see. Okay, so the first Governor General was Lord Warren Hastings. Okay, so the first Governor General was Lord Warren Hastings, and you need to know the 4 members. So the 4 members were Richard Barwell, okay, and then Philip Francis, and then George Monson, and also John Clavering. So these are the 4 council members which you should be knowing it very clearly, since they are for the first time. Otherwise many more members are going to come, not at all important. Okay, now here one more point that you need to know is Governor General of Bengal plus 4 members. Now the decision has to be taken on the basis of majority. So I have told you the first point, Governor became Governor General, then 4 members, and appointment I have told you this is by the company and this is by the Crown. Okay, and decisions are taken on the basis of majority. Majority means here 3 out of 5, right? Total 5 was there, so 3 out of 5. And this became a biggest problem here. So through these 4 members actually the Parliament can regulate, first of all, because Governor General alone cannot take the decision. And this majority provision became a problem, and it became a headache for the Governor General at that time, Warren Hastings, because 3 out of that 4 gentlemen were always against Warren Hastings. Okay, though they were never ready to accept or hear whatever the Warren Hastings was saying. And interestingly, the reason was that when these members came from England, they were not welcomed properly by Warren Hastings. That's their reason. And they were not ready to listen to anything by Warren Hastings, and that created a lot of problem. He was not able to get the majority in most of the case. Now, before that, if you see the structure of East India Company, it is like this. So East India Company, and then there will be board of directors. Okay, so board of directors will be there, and they are sitting in London, England only. And then under the board of director, actually the Governor General. Okay, now the Governor General I am talking about, that is Warren Hastings. So Governor General have to report to the board of director. Now here in this regulating act, there is a provision that the board of director now have to report to the parliament. Everything, every revenue administration, military administration, everything in India has to be reported to the parliament. So you can see here the control over the company is actually increasing. So this point is the board of director now have to report to the parliament. Okay, so there is a structure, East India Company, then board of director, and under that Governor General who is sitting in India to control the affairs of East India Company in India. So now after regulating act, Governor General plus 4 members are there. So Governor General will report to board of directors, and they have to report it to the parliament. Okay, so this 4 members, you need to know: Richard Barwell, Philip Francis, George Monson, and John Clavering, and they were always against Warren Hastings. In fact, 3 out of 4 was always against Warren Hastings, and Warren Hastings was not able to implement any of his decision. So that was the major problem with respect to this act. Now, one more point with respect to this act was there should be a Supreme Court. So a Supreme Court has to be established at Calcutta. Okay, and this act is in 1773. I have discussed this already in 1773 only, and the Supreme Court will be established in 1774 at Calcutta. But understand or remember that this Supreme Court and the modern day Supreme Court is entirely different. When we discuss about 1935 Government of India Act, we will discuss about the modern day Supreme Court. But at this point of time, understand that this Supreme Court is mainly for the trial of Europeans, not for Indians. Because when the British came to India, the Indian laws and their laws are totally different. In fact, the laws are polar opposites, right? And they consider Indian laws are traditional, orthodox, uncivilized. Okay, so this Supreme Court is basically for the trial of Europeans only. Okay, and the first Chief Justice of the Supreme Court was Justice Elijah Impey. So I hope all these points that I have discussed is clear to all of you. That mainly I've talked about 1773 Regulating Act. Now when you read polity and all, you will come across different other points also. Lakshmikant, okay, you can read that, understand that, but these are the main points. I will basically confine to the crux of the act. Other peripheral points you will find, you will come across, and you can read that, but the chances are very less that you will get questions from that. Whatever is required from exam point of view, this is what you need to understand. So the Governor of Bengal became Governor General of Bengal. Along with him, now there is a council, the 4 members. Now appointment, Governor General of Bengal will be appointed by the company, and the 4 members will be appointed by the crown. Okay, so decisions has to be taken on the basis of majority, and this created a problem for the Governor General. How this problem is going to be solved, we will discuss under the next act, that is Pitt's India Act 1784. Shortly, today itself if possible we will discuss, or tomorrow we will cover this. So this majority problem that the Warren Hastings faced will be overcame through Pitt's India Act. Okay, so we will discuss that. The second provision was related to the Supreme Court. Why other members were against Warren Hastings, I don't know whether you were late or you were not able to listen to what I've told you. In fact, I have discussed this. So I told you the reason is very interesting, that when these members came to India, they were not welcomed properly by Warren Hastings. And these reasons are not important for you. Nobody is going to ask you a question. The main problem is this. That's enough. Warren Hastings did not welcome them properly. That is the main reason, and that's why they were always agitated against Warren Hastings. Okay? So that's about the first point. Okay, now we need to discuss the history of Governor General. So the post of Governor General is created. Now we will see Indian history, modern Indian history through Governor Generals. Okay, so we will start with Warren Hastings. So this session will be about Warren Hastings. So his tenure, if you see, 1773 to 85. See, all the points that we are discussing in the class, you can take down as the lecture notes. These areas you won't get the PDF or anything. So, and it will be very difficult for you to consolidate from the textbook also. So try to note down from your side. Warren Hastings, this 12 year, you can see different Governor Generals will come for different tenure. So what you can understand here is there is no fixed tenure for the Governor General. Some will come for 12 year, some will come for 7 years, some will come for few months, like that it will be there. So there is no fixed tenure. Okay, now I'll give you one mains question here, very important mains question. You can expect that in any competitive exam or even in university exams also. So from history, the main question which can be asked from Warren Hastings is this: Warren Hastings period in history is known as trial and error period. So this is a statement. Warren Hastings period in history is known as trial and error period. Discuss, critically analyze, etc. Whatever can be the question, it can be asked. Okay. So Warren Hastings period in history is known as trial and error period. Discuss. Now here you can critically analyze, you can discuss, you can support Warren Hastings. So if you have a very good knowledge about history or about this situation at that point of time, you can even support Warren Hastings. And you can even say that whether it is Warren Hastings or any other person, whoever is going to come to India to govern India at that point of time is bound to make the mistakes which was committed by Warren Hastings, and through that only they have evolved into a superpower in India. Okay, so that way you can justify. I'll tell you, I'll give you everything which is required for the justification, or in for that matter I'll give you the connected ideas. Okay, so here if you see Bengal at that time, in the previous session also we have discussed, Bengal is such a huge territory. It comprises of Bihar, okay, Orissa, Bengal, and present day Bangladesh. Such a huge territory. Now you compare it with England. If you compare it with England, England is this much only if you compare it with this. So here you can see the person who is coming from a very small country having now the right to administer or administering the large territory which comprise of, within itself there is a country, okay, which is greater than England. So, and here he is going to face problem, and most importantly they were not experts in the administration. East India Company is mainly a trading company, so they were related to business, they are related to trading, no prior experience in administration, so they are going to make some mistakes here, and through that mistakes only they've actually learned. Okay, now one more thing is, this is the country from where they are coming. So queen of this country, okay, having this much area only, whereas the owner of a private company is having this much area. That will create problem between queen and the governor general also. Ego problem will also be there. That is another context. Apart from this, if you look into this area, there are different people. People speak Odia, people speak Bengali, people speak Hindi. So different people are speaking different language. So there was a problem with respect to language. And regionalism, typical Indian problem. Religion was again a problem, and casteism, which was never seen in England. They were not even knowing about what is caste, and when they came to India, they were supposed to face they were supposed to face that challenge also, and they were never heard of caste system in England. So imagine from where they are coming. They are coming from a country where there is only one language, mainly speaking English. So there is no problem of regionalism. Religion, only one religion, same. There is no caste at all. So when they're coming to India, where all these problems are there, they're going to struggle. So exactly what actually happened with Warren Hastings also. So if you don't have any prior experience in administration, you will make problem. So coupled with all these problems, he made some experiments. All those were mistakes. That's why trial and error period. So we will see what all experiments he did, but most of them went wrong. But through that only they have evolved. So Warren Hastings have a good role to play. So if you want to write a supportive argument, you can write in that way also. But you should be very clear about the context in which he is coming or he is administering. So if you talk about, if you need to rule India, or for that matter any area, any society, if you need to go for administration, you need to have control over the legal system. First of all, you need to control over the legal system. Secondly, you need to have a control over the revenue. We have already discussed that they got the revenue collection rights from after the Battle of Buxar. That things we have already discussed. So now they want to collect revenue, but they have no idea. They have no idea how to collect revenue. In India, predominantly the revenue is coming from where? Agriculture. It is land revenue. Unlike in England, it is mainly from industry. So here they have no idea how to collect revenue, like who is going to collect revenue, how much to be collected as revenue, when to collect revenue, is it before the sowing or after the cultivation? Okay, so how to collect revenue, who will collect revenue, is it by the state official or the zamindar? Like we have discussed about mansabdari system and then zamindari system. Okay, so who will collect revenue is a problem. How much, is it 1/2, 2/3 or 3/4, etc. When, before sowing or after cultivation? All these were the problems that they faced with respect to revenue collection. In India, we had a system during the time of Mughals to collect land revenue, that is mainly Lagan, but they have no idea about that system. Again, if you come to legal system, again there were problems. So there are two types of cases. I hope you have some knowledge about this. There are criminal cases, also civil cases. When it comes to criminal cases, almost uniform law was there. Okay, the laws were actually set by the Mughals, and which was partly Islamic and partly local. Local variations may be there, but still it was uniform for Hindus as well as Muslims. Okay, main two communities. But when it comes to civil cases, there were problems. So there were different laws for Muslims and different laws for Hindus. Not only that the laws are different, but the laws are poles apart, entirely opposite. Muslims are following the Hadith, the Quran, okay, the Muslim law, okay, then Sharia law, and the Hindus are following the Manusmriti, the oldest, most religious document of the Hindu. So both are poles apart. So their system was poles apart, and Britishers were not able to understand the system. For example, if you talk about certain laws like adoption. Adoption was not accepted among Muslims. It is not valid among Muslims. But in Hindus, it is valid and it is accepted. So if you see later when we discuss about the concept of doctrine of lapse, you will see only Hindu states were annexed under the policy of doctrine of lapse. Why? Because already Muslims don't have the conception or concept of adoption. So doctrine of lapse was not applicable in the Muslim states, and the Muslim states were annexed for different reasons. You can see Awadh was annexed for misgovernance. We will be discussing all these, don't worry about this. So adoption laws were different. Marriage law again were different. Among Muslims it is a social contract, okay, between two individuals. But among Hindus, it is a social, not just social contract, it is considered as something which is sacrosanct, okay, very religious, very divine. So there was no divorce possible among Hindus, but divorce was possible among Muslims. So there was a difference in the divorce also, right? In Muslims, you know that triple talaq is allowed. So for example, if a male don't want to live with the female, or if the male want to break the contract, he can seek divorce from the female through triple talaq. But that was not there among Hinduism, right? So, but many people are talking about triple talaq, but the opposite is also there and allowed in Muslims and among Muslims, that if a female don't want to live with the male, the female can seek divorce from the male through an instrument called I'm sure most of you, 90% of you don't know about this khul, but 100% of you know about triple talaq. Okay, so the context and the reason is different. So this through khul, even female can seek divorce from male, but rarely exercised, and it won't be exercised. So, but religion offers that possibility. Okay, so what I'm saying is the laws, again, if you talk about property law, okay, in case of Hindus, it is like it will be passed on to the son as per Manusmriti, but which son, how much, etc. is not specified, and nothing is given to the daughter, and something is given during the time of marriage in the form of stridhan, dowry. Apart from that, nothing is given. But in case of Islam, property, it is crystal clear. It is mentioned in Quran clearly that which son will get how much, elder son, younger son, and the daughter will get how much. It all based on the size of the family. Certain conditions are there, so everything is clear. So ultimately, what I want to tell you here is the legal system, also the revenue system, they were not at all familiar. Okay, so again, you got some points to justify Warren Hastings here. So whoever is going to come to his time in this India, they are bound to make mistake, because if you need to administer, you need to have a control over these two. Now, what is their choice now? What they can do now? Only possibility which is left out to them is actually study India. So if you need to administer India, you have to study India. There is no other way in which you can administer India now. So during this time, you will see a new branch of knowledge emerged, that is what you call as Indology. Khul is opposite of triple talaq. Like female can seek divorce from male. That is opposite to triple talaq. Triple talaq, male can seek divorce from female. It's exactly opposite. So study of India, that means now a new branch of knowledge emerged, that is Indology. Indology literally means study of India. So basically they want to this is basically for the purpose of administration. So if you see initial Indologists, they were mainly British administrators, and later some British scholars will come, and much later only Indian Indologists will come. Okay, so Indology, what they will do is they will go for all religious textbooks, they will go for translation, archaeological excavation, the travelogues of the kings, etc. And this is all about translations. Okay, so you can see the first such translation was in 1776. This was actually a prelims question before, into Jendu Code or Code of Jendu Laws. Okay, so actually Manusmriti was translated to Code of Jendu Laws. So Manusmriti was translated to Code of Jendu Laws. So Manusmriti is regarded as the oldest and most comprehensive document, though biased, holy book of Hindus in India for legal matters which is related to individual and society. So it is actually translated into Code of Jendu Laws. Okay, so that's the first such translation which happened in 1776. So Manusmriti is codified under Jendu Code or Code of Jendu Law. Then in 1781, this was a prelims question again. This was again a prelims question. I think in 2017 this question was asked. For Muslims, there was a Calcutta Madrasa. Okay, so to understand the Islamic law, Calcutta Madrasa was established. And most prominent among this, when we discuss about Indology, is in 1784, which was also asked as a prelims question, Asiatic Society of Bengal. Asiatic Society of Bengal by William John. Most of you know about this. I am expecting that if you have read history at least, by William John. Okay, so Asiatic Society means, what is the purpose? Asiatic Society means the purpose is basically to study the Oriental societies. Oriental societies means Eastern society, but specific to India. Okay, now during this time, what I want to tell you is mainly there are two types of people or two types of Indologists were there. I've told you already. One was basically British administrators, and then you have British scholars. So initially British administrators, so what they will do, they are actually sponsored by the government, so they were government sponsored, so their purpose is to justify their role in India. Okay, so they totally maligned India. They highlighted only the bad aspect of India. Okay, so they didn't give any respect. They tried to say that Indian society is very traditional, very orthodox, uncivilized, and their role in India is basically to civilize India or take India from tradition to modern, and that's what the so-called white man's burden. Okay, so what I'm saying is the British administrators, they maligned India completely. What is their role, their objective here? When they are government sponsored means they have to justify their rule in India. So that's what exactly they did. On the other hand, if you see the British scholars, they are scholars, right? They are coming out of their interest. They will come out of their curiosity. So who will give a better understanding here? These people will give a non-biased understanding to an extent. So they have seen India's culture with a great appreciation and honor. India's glorious past, culture, institutions, etc., with great honor and appreciation, and they are totally using a different approach than the British administrators. But whatever it is, you can see here what is common here. It is British here, it is British here, and there is a very famous saying that the Britishers came to India and they taught us our history, what we are, where are we from, and all those things. Okay, so that's about Indology. So mainly what you remember, what you need to, I just deviated from the discussion of Warren Hastings, but it was required. Indology mainly, one in 1776, one in 1781, another in 1784. These 3 years you need to remember. Here the Code of Jendu laws, here Calcutta Madrasa, here Asiatic Society of Bengal. Okay. Now next we will discuss about Pitt's India Act. Okay. So named after the British Prime Minister Pitts. So I have already discussed that the regulating act, that Governor General of Bengal plus 4 members, and the main problem was with respect to majority. You need to get 3 out of 5. Okay, so here that problem is going to be solved. I've told you this already. Now let me explain you how that problem is going to be solved. So here what is going to happen is Governor General of Bengal plus 4 will be now reduced to 3. Okay, so study with the logic, then you will not forget it. You can see later it will be increased to 4 and then more. Okay, so understand the reason why it is going to be reduced and what will be the impact. Then it will be very easy for you to remember. So here again Governor General will be appointed by the company, the members will be appointed by the parliament, it is the same. Now here also the position is related to majority only, it is the same. The majority decision making is there. So the decision has to be based on majority. So now 4 members are there. What is the majority here? 3 is the majority. Now if you see here, which one is easy to get? 3 out of 5 or 3 out of 4? 3 out of 5 is easy to get. So if you are not able to get the majority with 3 out of 5, how can you get majority with 3 out of 4? That is a bigger question. But here the solution is like this. In case of equality, there is a possibility that 2-2. This is equality. In case of equality, Governor General will have a casting vote. Governor General have a casting vote. This is not veto. Veto is different. Veto is like you can overcome all the members with your own vote. This is casting vote. Okay, so Governor General will have a casting vote in case of equality. So that means Governor General have a vote already. 3 members are there. How to get this stage? You get 1 member here. So you can get 2-2. So if you can appease 1 member, you will get equality. Once you get equality, you can exercise your vote. So you can implement your decision. And how to attract that 1 member? That you can do anything. You can lure him, you can pay him, you can appease him, you can do whatever you want. 1 member you can keep with you. Okay. So now other logic, if you think that if entire 3 members are against you, then you cannot implement anything. But if 1 person is supporting you, you can do whatever you want. Now understand here, in different language you can see here the Governor General have 2 votes actually. 2 votes are there. So if suppose you see, even if it is 3 out of 5, already he have 2 votes, 1 more is what you need, so you can get the majority. That is the logic here. So So that is the first point with respect to Pitt's India Act. Second point is with respect to a board of control. Okay, so board of control. So like a new board in England was created, which is known as board of control, with 6 members. Okay, so it was basically it was created to control the East India Company's affair in India. So you see here the 6 members will sit in England and will control the affairs of East India Company in India, whereas the members, the 3 council members, will be in India with the Governor General and regulate the East India Company. So board of control, they will sit in England and will regulate, and the 3 members, the council members with Warren Hastings, will sit in India and will regulate. So you can see what regulation is increasing over the company by the parliament. And this board of control you will see later after 1857, once the British Parliament take up the control over India, this board of control will be abolished, because it was created for what? To control the East India Company. Now East India Company no more ruling in India after 1857, so this will be abolished. We will see that Indian Council Office will be set up, and then you can see Indian Council Acts that we are going to discuss in future. The third provision is, you see, I've told you the Governor General will be appointed by the company, right? So company have the right to appoint the Governor General, but the members, the 3 members, appointed by the Parliament. So if Parliament is appointing, the Parliament have the right to call them back or anything. But now there is a provision that even though the Governor General is appointed by the company, if the Parliament is not happy with the Governor General, Parliament can recall the Governor General. Okay, so the provision goes like this: the Parliament can recall any official in India, including Governor General. Okay, so that's about the third provision. So I hope you understood. Now the main problem you see when you are reading the spectrum and all, you will just see Governor General plus 4, and then Governor General plus 3, and then in 1833 you will see Governor General plus 4. You will be confused and you will not be able to remember. Not only you, everybody will be having the same problem. But if you understand the logic why this 4 was reduced to 3, then you don't want to forget it. Now if you go back and read the spectrum, you will understand. Otherwise, blindly if you are reading spectrum, you will see Governor General plus 3 member. So you will think that where the other person go, what is the reason? But this is actually the reason. And all these information may not be there in the textbook. I've told you that if you need to get that level of information, you need to read the higher level textbooks. Same. But you don't have time and you don't want to put that effort also. So spectrum is enough for you to get a brief idea along with the class. Okay, so that's about Pitt's India Act. And then we were with the question, right? One more point which I want to tell you is, here we are talking about in Bengal, we are talking about Governor General. So you may think about the Governor of Bombay and Governor of Madras. You may think that they were inferior to Governor General, right? Because they are governor. Some books you will see inferior. But understand clearly, there may be some inferiority, but that is not again absolute. Okay, so this, in case of internal matters, that is more important, no? Internal matters. In case of internal matters, the Governor General have control in Bengal only. Governor of Bombay, complete control in Bombay. Madras, Governor have complete control in Madras. Nobody can interfere. Governor General have nothing to do in that. In case of internal matters. So here there is no superiority or inferiority here. Everybody is superior in their domain, in internal matters. But when it comes to external matters, what do you mean by external matters like war treaty, peace treaty, etc.? Then if there is a difference of opinion between them, then Governor General will have the final say. But you see, generally, if you read the textbooks, even Lakshmikant also it is there, Spectrum also it is there, Governor General is superior. Yeah, you can say that, but understand in which context. Internal matters, there is no superiority at all. Okay, all the 3 have their own superiority. Nobody can interfere in others. But in case of external matters, and exactly this is what happened in the after the Anglo-Maratha War, the Warren Hastings actually signed a treaty with Marathas. Okay, not Warren Hastings, the governor of Bombay actually signed a treaty with Marathas. We will discuss that when we discuss about Maratha wars. But the governor of Bengal, Warren Hastings, was not interested. Okay, so if there is a difference of opinion, whose word will be final? Governor of Bengal. So he came to Bombay and annulled the treaty. When he went back, the governor of Bombay signed the treaty again. And Warren Hastings came again and annulled the treaty. So finally he will have the final law, because in external matters, the Governor General will have the final say. So I hope that point is very clear to you. Now what we need to do is, I'm coming back to that particular question that we were discussing. I just got slipped away from there. We were discussing about a question that is, Warren Hastings period in history is known as trial and error period, right? So I've already given you the context, and based on the context itself you can write the answer. What is the context? The kind of territory that he's administering, and you can compare it with England. You can talk about the various problems. You can talk about the legal problems. You can talk about the revenue collection problems, coupled with the problems from the council members and also from the parliament, etc. All these are the problems that he was facing. Okay, now what are the efforts? What all things he did? Mainly with respect to revenue. There was a 5-year settlement, like you can say this is quinquennial settlement or 5-year settlement. Basically from 1772 to 77, quinquennial settlement or 5-year settlement. So the system is like this. Understand the system. The revenue collection rights are given to the highest bidders. Okay, so zamindar, those zamindar who will promise the highest amount to the British, they will get the zamindarship. So there will be auction. Okay, so the British will advertise that we are going to give the zamindarship. So zamindars will come, they will participate in the auction, and in the bidding process, whoever will quote the maximum will get the zamindarship. So this zamindar will collect from the peasant revenue, okay, and will give it to the state. This is the system. So zamindar will promise huge amount. Okay, so during the auction, the main problem here is the state is not fixing anything. It is the zamindar who is fixing, and zamindar will quote highest amount because he is desperate to get the zamindarship. Because zamindars used to enjoy the power of policing also at that time. There was no organized policing set up at that point of time, and we will discuss that in detail when we discuss about 1793 police reforms. Next session, tomorrow I will be discussing that. So zamindars used to enjoy the power of policing. Okay, so zamindars were so desperate. For example, this piece of land. Okay, you may be able to collect 1 lakh rupee. But what the zamindar will do is, zamindar will promise that I'll give you 5 lakh. Okay, so he will get the zamindarship, and this is for 5 years, so he can enjoy for 5 years that zamindarship, and you need to pay in 5 years only. If you are not paying in the first year, nothing can be done. Second year, nothing can be done. Third year, nothing can be done. Only after 5 years, state can ask, because the contract is for 5 years. So 1 lakh is what you can collect. Now let's suppose he collected 1 lakh. He promised 5 lakh. If you are not paying 5 lakh, you will lose the zamindarship. No other punishment. You will lose the zamindarship. So if you collected 1 lakh, you pay 1 lakh, you will lose the zamindarship. Okay. You pay 10,000, then also you will lose the zamindarship, and you will never be able to pay this. So you collected 1 lakh. What you will do? If you pay this, you lose the zamindarship, and that's what maximum you can happen. Even if you pay 10,000 or 1,000, still the same. So even though he collected this much, forget about the promise. Even though he collected this much, he may pay this much only. So neither the peasant nor the state is getting any benefit. Only the zamindar is getting richer and richer. He is getting the benefit. Right? So peasant is exploited by the zamindar. State is not getting anything. State was promised to get 5 lakh, and state cannot implement any of the policy. If you need to have a proper budgeting and all, you should have a very good idea about what revenue that you are going to get. So here you have absolutely no idea about the revenue that you are going to get, because the zamindars are quoting unrealistic amount when the bidding process. And what happened is, after 5 years, this system was abolished. The system remained the same. Peasant will pay to zamindar, zamindar will pay to the state. Again, zamindar selected on the basis of bidding. But 5 years now changed to 1 year. That means after 1 year, if you are not paying, the zamindar can be evicted. But still, see, the root problem is the same. What is the root cause? It is the bidding process was the main problem. That still remains. So even now also, for example, that land you can collect 20,000. Okay, you can collect 20,000, but what you will do is you will make a promise that you can give 1 lakh. But ultimately you can collect 20,000. So you will make a false promise, you will get the zamindariship. And once you collected this, if you give 1,000, you give 20,000, the punishment is the same, you will lose the zamindariship. So you will give this only. Again, the problem is there. So the main problem is in the bidding process. That will be solved in the permanent settlement, where the revenue will be fixed permanently and will be fixed by the government. Here it is left out to the zamindar. That was the main problem. So here also there is a problem. So but what you can see here, it is because of the policies of Warren Hastings, they are evolved, right? So it actually helped them, right? So that's what exactly happened. So this is policy with respect to the revenue policy. So initially it was for 5 years, then it was reduced to 1 year, but still there was a issue. Okay, the root problem remained the same. Okay, one more interesting fact which is to be discussed under Warren Hastings is he was the only Governor General who was booked for a murder case. Only Governor General who booked for a murder case. There was a Governor General who was murdered. Okay, that we will discuss. Lord Mayo, the only Governor General who got killed in India by Indian. Okay, so some Pathan convicts, we will discuss about that later when we discuss about Mayo. But here I am talking about the only Governor General who was booked for a murder case. So there was a Bengali trader whose name was Nanda Kumar, and Nanda Kumar accused Warren Hastings in a corruption charge. Later, Nanda Kumar was booked in a fabricated case and he was hanged in that case. So in that case, Warren Hastings was tried, but because of no evidence, he was left free. Okay, so he got acquitted. So that's about Warren Hastings. So mainly what I need to repeat here is mainly the question trial and error period. So first you talk about the context, what are the experiments he did, why it was a failure, and finally you talk about how it actually helped the British. And you will get some more knowledge from the next sessions, so you can write a very beautiful answer for that. Secondly, you understand about Regulating Act of 1773 we have discussed. Mainly, a Governor of Bengal became Governor General of Bengal plus 4 members. Governor General appointed by the company, 4 members by the Parliament. The decisions are to be taken on the basis of majority. And the problems you see. Then there has to be a Supreme Court to be established, and was established in 1774. Pitt's India Act 1784. The 3 points, Governor General of Bengal plus 4 now became 3. Then there was a Board of Control with 6 members who were sitting in England to regulate the affairs of East India Company in India. Thirdly, there was a provision of recall through which the Parliament can recall any of its officials, including the Governor General. So that's about Warren Hastings. I hope you got very good knowledge about Warren Hastings. So this much detail is not there in Spectrum, but now when you read Spectrum, you will understand everything. So, any doubts? Tell me.
What is meant by Asiatic society?
Which society?
Asiatic.
Asiatic society means Asian societies, the Oriental societies. And if I go in depth, it is totally different to the feudal societies of England. So it's like kings control everything, and land is not a private property. So many other things are there. Let's not discuss into that. Thank you, Akansha. Yeah, now here onwards it will be very easy for you, and that's my strong area also from here onwards.
Sir?
Yeah, tell me.
Can we say that 5-year settlement of Warren Hastings changed his period as a trial and error?
No. All these are experiments. No, all these were experiments that they were conducted, and finally it culminated into what? It culminated into the permanent settlement.
Okay, sir.
Okay, can we stop here? I have another class. Yeah, tell me.
Excuse me, sir.
Hmm.
Sir, can I ask the second kinetic was question? Some second kinetic was I'm totally confused because Muzaffar Jang is against Nasir Jang.
Both of them were coming back. No, one Anwaruddin's son who fled. Also, the other person. Both of them were coming back, and they were able to beat the French with the support of British.
Sir, Nasir Jang and Muzaffar Jang. I'm totally confused. Nasir Jang, the son of Nizam.
Nasir Jang, son of Nizam. Now, Muzaffar Jang initially he was the grandson of Nizam.
Okay, sir. Sir, could they ask about duplex?
Duplex can be asked. Even mains also there can be question related to duplex because subsidiary alliance is the main pioneer and he is one of the most important person with respect to that war. There may be a possibility, but these are wide possibility. That's why I just briefly covered the war. Everything else, if at all possible, you can read. There are obviously these things are impossible for me to cover in the class. No, history is so wide. So I only stick to the exam perspective, nothing else.
Okay, so sir, sir, could you provide your future lectures because I can't read. And what do I ask about that lecture?
Which one?
Like, give us the future lecture. What about future lecture or another topic?
Now we will go in the order from 1773 to we will just go in the order only. Just this order we will follow.
Like Governor General.
Governor Generals, yeah.
Okay, sir.
And in fact, all the lectures are available in case if you want to watch the lecture available in the application already.